guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing so great. Today we're going to study a new topic, reporter speech. So let's start. Reporter speech. We often need to tell others what someone else said. There are two ways to do this. One is to say the same words and use quotation marks. That is direct speech. The other method is to summarize or tell about what someone said. This is called recorder speech. Before we get into the rules for reporting speech, here are the terms we're using to explain it. Here you have a sentence, an example, right? First, you have the subject, in this case, she. The reporter verb said, that conjunction, that this is optional if you want to use it, right? That is that. And also the reporter speech clause. She wanted a cookie. So this is a reporter speech sentence. But when you want to say the same sentence but in direct speech, you will say, I want a cookie. So then if you want to say in reporter speech, you want to say, she said that she wanted a cookie. Rules for reporting speech. To get this kind of sentence right, there are 4 things you should keep in mind. First, to choose a reporter verb tense. When did the speech happen with current, repeated, or recent events, the reporting verb is in the present tense. For example, he says he's hungry, so let's go to lunch. A habitual or reporting statement is in the present tense. Everyone says the water is safe to drink. For reporting less immediately speech, choose the past tense. The reporting verb is often said, the past of say. But it can also be told or other verbs like ordered, stated, or reported, depending on the situation. When reporting questions, you can use verbs like ask or requested. Second one, to change the perspective or point of view. That means I become he, she, or they. Examples. Mary said I ate the pie. This is direct speech. So if you want it in reporter speech, you have to say, she said that she ate the pie. So you are changing the subject, in this case I, right, for she. So she said that she ate the pie. We don't need to change the tense, though probably we do need to change the person from I to she. For example, we also may need to change words like my and your. As I'm sure you know, often we can choose if we want to use that or not in English. To choose whether to include that or if. He says he is at home, or he says that he is at home. That is a conjunction here linking the 2 parts of the sentence. So that is optional. If you want to use it, that's okay. Another conjunction, if, is required when reporting on a question. For example, he asked me if I knew how to play tennis. So in this case, you're using F, right? So, 4. To backshift the tense. This is the trickiest part of the reporter speech. When the reporting verb is in the past tense, the verb in the reporter clause is in the past tense too. The verb aspect showing whether the action is completed. Here you have some examples. I am buying my ticket. So, the present continuous, right? If you want to say it in reporter speech, He said he was buying his ticket. So this is the present continuous in the first one, but when you're going to say it in the reported speech, you have to say it in past continuous, right? Reporting speech in English will be easy if these rules were all learners needed to know. But as usual, there is more to learn. Let's look at what happens with questions and modals. So, reporting on questions. When we report questions, we have to pay attention to the auxiliary verb. For example, these are words like do, be, and have. Examples. Do you like pizza? So if you notice, this is a just no question, and the auxiliary verb in this case is do, because the question is in present, right? So do you like pizza? If you want to say this question into reported speech, the report that question, drop the auxiliary and add if. He asked me if I like pizza. So if you notice here, the verb like, you have to write it in past, right? He asked me if I like pizza, right? So, information questions. Examples. Where are you going? So here you're using a WH word, and in this case the auxiliary verb is are, right? So where are you going? If you want to say it into reporter speech, she asked me where I was going. So in this case, to report this sentence, you have to simply change the pronoun and the word order. First, you're going to write, she asked me where I was going. So you change the verb with the subject, right? In this case, learners often make the mistake of keeping the same word order. For example, she asked me where was I going. So you have to change that when you are talking in reported speech. Also, a similar word order switch appears with the verb be in questions. For example, they ask, when is the party? If you want to say it into reporter speech, you have to say, they ask me when the party was. So if you notice, you have to change, in this case, the word order. The question word when remains. Be moves from a position before the noun to after the noun. So in this case, right, they ask me when the party was. Reporting speech with modals. Finally, pay attention to whether the speech you are reporting uses a modal verb. Will, can, and shall change to would, could, and should when reported. Will is used to make statements about the future in English. For example, Kelly said, I will pick up the sandwiches. So, if you want to say it in the reported speech, you have to say it. Kelly said he will pick up the sandwiches. So, if you notice, you change the auxiliary in future, in this case, will to would. So, Kelly said she would pick up the sandwiches. Another example, if you have can, for example, Kathy asked, can you answer the phone while I'm out? So, if you want to say the same question but into reported speech, you have to say, Kathy asked me if I could answer the phone while she was out. So, if you notice, you are changing the auxiliary can into would, right? If the modal verb is already in its past form, it does not change when reported. For example, George stated, I will not do that. So if you want to say into reported speech, George said he would not to do that. So you don't need to change the word would because it's already into past. So guys, that's all for today. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.